Interesting. So here's the thing. I'm not the biggest Tesla fan. This is all a little goofy, if you ask me. But here's the thing, the Tesla Model 3 is now one of the most affordable EVs on the market. Just a couple weeks ago, Tesla lowered prices yet again, and this guy is now starting at $39,990. And this one is basically that. This was ordered a week ago, it's got 200 miles on it. The only upgrade is the wheels. Other than that, it is completely base model, the cheapest Tesla that you can buy. About a year or so ago, these things were $50,000, right? And a lot of people were sort of comparing them to more expensive EVs or just your traditional 3 Series C-Class A4 type of vehicle. But now this is more like a Chevy Bolt, and I would rather have herpes than a Chevy Bolt. So now all of a sudden, I think it's worth revisiting. At $40,000, you get more standard features in this car than you get in $100,000 BMWs. It is seriously impressive. But the question is, do all of those standard features and the things that make Tesla so popular overcome this? It's not exactly interesting. And it's a Tesla, which means that build quality, the paint here on the back bumper looks a shade off. Also, check out this panel gap here. It's pretty small. But on the other side, you could sink a battleship in that. Like, look at you can see daylight in there. What is that? Side note, that is not the same shade as that. Look at that panel gap here in the door. You can see so much white paint through there. This isn't super even either. If we head inside, things don't improve. What's going on up here? That's not great. I do like this open pore wood on the dash, except that it got caught on the plastic trim right here. Like the wood is peeling up here. This weather stripping looks like it was cut by an infant child. Definitely a little bit of unpainted bare metal in that fender. Nice. And again, this car is brand new. It was delivered 3 days ago. So Tesla clearly has a lot more work to do if they want to get their build quality up to the same level as rival automakers such as Kia or Toyota. But at the very least, we're now talking about a $40,000 car and not a $50,000 car or a $100,000 car in the case of the Model S, which also has pretty bad build quality. But don't worry about any of that, because the thing about this car that you have to understand is at $40,000, this is an almost unbeatable deal. All right, we'll start on the interior, and this is the only thing that has changed about this car in the last 5 years. They took the wood from the dash and extended it into the door card. Now, does it look good? Yes, it does. However, this interior is not to everyone's tastes. People will either find this minimal and clean or plain and boring. I tend to fall somewhere in between. I do think it's nice. We have lots of soft touch materials here, lots of squishy armrest over here, kind of squishy door panel, leather wrapped steering wheel that I'm not a huge fan of design wise, but it's definitely tactile and chunky, so I respect that. And of course the coup de grace, the infotainment screen. Now, as a normal car guy, this screen is hit or miss to me. I like the fact that you've got all of these apps in the tray. It's the most responsive touchscreen that you will find in any car out there. No one even comes close. But I don't like the fact that if you want to open the glove box, you have to go in here and hit glove box and then it opens. That is not my cup of tea. But Tesla has this really interesting way of doing cars and car features. Every automaker forever has an option list where you pick the features that you want. But the way that Tesla does things is they build a car that has all sorts of hardware, and then they use software to make features out of it. So the example that I would give is blind spot monitoring. In a normal car, you would have to pay for an option or package that contains blind spot monitoring, and that would put some sensors in your bumper and a little light on your mirror. This car doesn't do that. What it does instead is take the cameras that are already there for their self-driving technology and turn them on when you turn on your indicator. So put your indicator on and there you go. Here's your camera feed pointing out what's in your mirror. In fact, Tesla's vision only now. So this car doesn't have any radar or LiDAR or any sensors apart from cameras. That's what they use to measure distance when you're parking. It's what they use for the radar cruise control. It's what they use for those blind spot monitors. It's cameras only. And that definitely has some downsides. The car just told me to stop because it thinks I'm about to crash into this curb. But the problem is, it can't see this curb because the camera is on the windshield. So it saw the curb when I was approaching it, and once it went out of vision range, it's using the motion of the car to detect if I'm getting closer to it. And that's all well and good, and to be fair, I am pretty close to it. But there have been numerous reports that this vision system isn't the best at actually detecting obstacles. But according to Elon, that's the best, so that's the end of it. So some criticisms to be made, absolutely fair, but once you get out on the road and you drive one of these, it's pretty clear why they're so popular. All right, so let's start with a little bit of city driving, because this is an area where the Model 3 really shines. In the city, you don't have to worry about consuming as much range. This being the base model, I've got about 177 miles left on 65-ish% battery. That's not too bad. And we're already sitting in traffic, so you know you're in a real city. But honestly, there are worse places to be. This interior is very calm and very quiet. That is Tesla's specialty. There is a ton of engineering that goes into making this interior as quiet as it is. In fact, it's so quiet in here that the only thing you'll ever hear is the air conditioning blowing in front of you and on the passenger, and the power steering motor. Can you hear that? Yeah, that's basically all you're going to hear. And there's a reason for that. Tesla has an insane focus on quiet. If I crack this window here, you'll notice that it is double glazed glass. That's something that is extra on even, an Audi A8, a Mercedes S-Class. And this is on a $40,000 car, because when you're in an electric environment and it's this quiet, you need that to keep that environment. Otherwise, it kind of ruins it, doesn't it? Now, I will be the first to say that I'm not the biggest fan of this car's interior. I mean, it's nice, it's definitely clean and minimalist. That's not my personal style, but it's starting to look a little bit, I don't want to say outdated, because it's definitely not, but it's a little common, right? This car has been out for a long time. I'm kind of used to this interior. Not the biggest fan of the steering wheel. I'm not the biggest fan of these gray plastics everywhere. And the materials quality, it's fine for 40 grand, but when you talk about, the Model 3 performance having the same interior, it definitely could use a bit more. Now, we're going over some pretty bumpy roads here, and I have to say the suspension is pretty good, if a little bit bouncy. You definitely feel like the bumps are well damped, but the car is a little jiggly over them. But the screen is large and crisp and easy to see. You've got phone charging, you've got a massive bin here, you've got a massive bin here, there's massive door bins, there's a ton of storage in this interior, and everything is super easy to hand. Even though you have to go into here to make adjustments all the time, which I don't like, it is very well laid out and easy to read. So for example, let's go ahead here and get some juice in this car. We definitely are gonna need a little bit. Buttons are a little small, I'm not gonna lie, but we're not actually that far from a supercharger. So why don't we go there and get a little bit of juice in this car, shall we? So apparently this is where the Tesla supercharger is. Oh yeah, there it is. Look at that, and we do have some empty stalls, which is great because there's not very much supercharging infrastructure here in DC. I think there's only 2 in the district, and here's one of them. Wow, we got a lot of friends here, lots of Model 3s. Let's go ahead and take that spot. I like that one. I wish we had a top-down 360 camera. I mean, this is nice, good high resolution and all that, but 360 would be better. All right, let's get some juice in here, and you can't fault Tesla for the ease of use. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, I'm trapped. 9 minutes remaining, 64%. We're charging up to 80. Not bad at all. And Apple thought that they could do it better. This guy's pretty good. I like that. And look at all the streaming services that we've got access to, at least for the first month, because this has the premium connectivity trial. You do have to pay extra for it after that. And as promised, 10 minutes later, we are all done. Let's go do some highway driving, shall we? Welcome to American Rush Hour, baby. That is where autopilot was born and designed. This car is a highway car. From California, I mean, Elon spends half his time lobbying against them building any trains out there so that he can sell more of these things, so it ought to do pretty good. Now, I feel like most of the time when I see people talk about Tesla, they're talking, of course, about autopilot, full self-driving. This car doesn't have that. It doesn't even have Navigate on autopilot, which you also have to pay for. This is just the completely standard, regular, basic autopilot, so to speak. And effectively, it's like any other car's radar-guided cruise control with lane keep assist. Now, I have that in my 2021 A6, so I'm very curious to see how this compares. Now, to turn it on, we just tap down twice. We got our little icon there. It automatically picks the speed limit as our target speed, and we have Rainbow Road turned on because, of course, why not? We need the musings of a billionaire Redditor to keep us interested while we're on this very boring road. So, how is it doing so far? I'm gonna keep my hand on the steering wheel because that's what you're supposed to do. I'm not gonna be like one of those YouTubers that drives around hands-free, endangering themselves and others. Now, the thing that I don't like about the basic autopilot is if I wanna change lanes, which I do, it's gonna disconnect our lane keep assist here. So now the steering wheel is all mine. It's not doing anything. I gotta double tap again for it to relock. That's a little bit irritating. So, oh, we gotta apply more force. I was holding the wheel the whole time, by the way. Just wanted to point that out. But that is less than ideal. I drive a 2021 A6 and it has a very similar thing, right? Radar cruise control, and it keeps the car in the lane. That's basically what this does. But in that car, you can hit the indicator, make your turn, let go of it, and it'll relock back in the lane without you having to re-engage the system. So the fact that this one does make you re-engage it really seems like they just want you to buy Navigate on autopilot or full self-driving. There's no real reason that it should make you re-engage that. I really don't like that. But that being said, it's a $40,000 car with radar-guided cruise control and lane keep assist as standard. And that is a lot more than you could say for almost every other automaker. And it does really well. Like, for example, the road splits off there, but it's able to keep us in the lane that we want to go in. My A6, sometimes, particularly if there's a left-hand exit, we'll try to bear with the left line in the road, and we'll just kind of go out of the highway unless you kind of guide it back in. So this is definitely a more competent system than you will find in a lot of other cars. And I know that there are people out there who are car enthusiasts who will watch this video and say, hey, Luke, I would rather have a staple to the forehead than drive a Tesla Model 3. And you know what? That's totally fair. No one's making you drive one. But getting behind the wheel here today, it is not surprising why this car is effectively the Toyota Corolla or the Honda Civic of EVs. They're absolutely everywhere, and it's clear why. The value for $40,000 is tremendous. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about the base model Tesla Model 3. Let me know in the comments below. I know there's a new one coming out soon, so maybe now isn't the best time to buy this, but I guarantee this price, this sub $40,000 price, is not going to last once a refreshed model comes out. So I'm curious to hear if you think this is a good buy. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.